Let go of the expectations that we put on ourselves. Live your life. Do what gives you joy.
What does empowerment look like and mean to you in your clinical practice? And how are you helping women take the reins back?
The thing that pops out and that I talk about every single day is that it's not just about estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone.
Welcome to the Hot Flash Health Podcast, where we're dishing out unfiltered truths about menopause with a side of sass and a sprinkle of grass.
Get ready to dive into the wild world of hot flashes, mood swings, and all of the other joys of being a queenager.
This ain't your grandma's podcast. No, we are here to talk our bodies, our fears, our passions, our desires, all while navigating this wild roller coaster ride of menopause.
So grab a glass of wine,
Or three.
kick back, relax, and let's enjoy this hot flash wave together.
I'm Courtney Mamusha, and alongside me is my fabulous co-host, Dawn Fable.
We're just two outspoken broads who like to call it how it is.
Now, without further ado, let's kick off today's episode. Welcome back, everyone, to the Hot Flash Health Podcast. Okay, if anyone has ever Googled, why am I bloated, even though they've literally done nothing wrong, or what even are hormones and why do they hate me, then today's episode is going to feel like a warm hug and a gentle gut check. We're joined by someone who's not changing the way that we treat women's health. She's changing the entire conversation. Dr. Amy Pearson is a powerhouse in women's functional medicine, hormone balancing, gut health, and autoimmune care. Basically, if your body's sending signals, she knows how to decode them. Amy's a chiropractor turned functional medicine goddess, a certified gut health practitioner, and founder of the Women's Health Institute, a soon-to-launch nonprofit that's flipping the script on how women access care. Think scholarships, custom care teams, and support for women health entrepreneurs. Whether you're dealing with PMS, PMDD, perimenopause, mystery bloat, or just straight-up medical gaslighting, then this episode is for you. So grab your green juice or coffee or magnesium, and let's talk a little bit about how it feels good to be in your body. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you, Courtney, so much. I'm happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you. All right. Well, obviously, you've got a resume longer than a CVS receipt. Chiropractor, functional medicine doctor, gut health guru, hormone whisperer. I mean, tell us what really sparked your fire for women's health and why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah, wow. I will try to give the short version. When I started my career as a chiropractor, I actually went on to get my diplomate in pediatrics and maternal health. And so that really set the foundation for me to understand better about women's bodies, particularly through pregnancy and postpartum. But in my practice, when you're in that managed healthcare system, you only have so much time to work with people. And so women would come in and, once I put my hands on them and I could feel you're so inflamed, you're so tight. I know you're stressed, but I don't really have time to address all of these things. The more that I did that, the more that I worked with women after they had children, these moms, career women, it really just started pulling my interest even more into women's health. And so, although I don't do chiropractic anymore, I'm really grateful for the foundation that it set, and all female providers are also female patients. And so my own health journey definitely took me down a road that I recognized I really want to do better for women. And I'm not sure how to do that yet. An injury forced me out of my career and made me pivot. And that is when I started going down the rabbit hole of functional medicine. And so here I am on this journey of women's health and hormones and all things related. So I'm very grateful for it. But yeah, it's definitely been a journey.
I mean, it's interesting to think, I have a daughter who's 15 and kind of looking at her life and what she's going to do with her future and how we came about this too. I mean, was there a time growing up too that you were sort of really curious about health? Did you have family members that were doctors? Kind of tell me your origin story too of why you wanted to go into the medical field.
Yeah, absolutely. I did not grow up in a family of doctors, but I grew up in a small town in the Midwest that is a farming community, many farms around our small town. And I am very proud of my small town. However, I will say this, myself and so many of my friends had horrible periods. One of my friends actually had to have a blood transfusion because her periods were so bad.
Oh my goodness.
I would say at least half, if not even maybe more than half of my classmates were put on the birth control pill because our periods were so horrific. And so even as a young teenager, when my cramps were debilitating and I was in the fetal position on the bathroom floor of the school, I was surrounded by bad hormone balance since the beginning, to the point that even some of my friends and classmates growing up, there are so many genetic mutations in babies being born by people that are my age in our small little community, so much so that Creighton University has been doing a study in the area. So we're talking about significant hormone imbalances since I was even aware of what hormones and periods were. Then you fast forward my career through chiropractic and, dealing with women. And then I interject my own story. And I think every woman, regardless of, if they're a provider or have nothing to do with healthcare, everybody has a story. And so after my injury, my own hormones started changing. And I went to my beloved primary care, who was a woman. And I said, I'm eating keto and I'm exercising twice a day and I'm gaining weight. And she said, well, everything looks okay. So I guess just keep going and let's see what happens. And that was really the journey that took me down that rabbit hole of saying, something's wrong. And it started with hormones. And then that opened the door to gut health because you can't do hormones without a healthy gut. And so it just snowballed from there. So, I have a story like pretty much every woman has a story.
Yeah. It's, and I've talked about my personal health journey too, but if you think about how this is all interconnected, right? I mean, we start with hormones and then throughout our years, we're fueling ourselves with this food that's causing inflammation for some of us and bloating, and we don't understand why. And now as we're going into these years of perimenopause and menopause and aging gracefully,
Yes.
we don't know what's going on with our hormones too. And so you add, for me, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, I started, I was eating everything I normally did. And then I was getting super bloated and realized that I had a gluten, allergy, which I'm sure a lot of us with how foods are raised and what's going on in the world, our bodies start kind of combating it and saying, all right, this is not good for us. Right. So
Yep.
it is amazing how like the bodies work together with like, if you have a healthy gut and you're in alignment and spiritually, you're mentally okay, but your hormones have to be there too. So it's like a well-oiled machine. And then when something's off, it's off, right?
Yep. I correlate it to a spider web. I always say women's bodies and hormones, especially women, are like a spider web. Everything is so intertwined and connected. And if one strand is being tugged in the wrong direction, the whole web shifts. And that's really what makes it so complicated, but also can be so beautiful when it's working right.
Yeah. And I think, it's a really important time for us right now. Obviously, I say
Yeah.
menopause is having its moment, which is why, Dawn and I with Hot Flash Health are such behind promoting this and having a voice around, us aging and being okay to talk about it and stop being gaslit and having people like
Mm-hmm.
you that really give us questions instead of putting us on an SSRI and like
Mm-hmm.
saying, well, just take this and you'll be fine and just deal with it. Before, this podcast, you and I connected and we talked about a panel that you were just on. I think with I don't know if it was the AIA, the Architects Institute, but
Yeah.
it wasn't. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the state of women's health, which I think is really interesting for an architectural institute to bring you in to talk about women's health. Kind of talk us through like what that was like and how it was to present on this panel of where we've been, where we're going, where we need to go, and how that whole experience was.
Yeah, it was really fun, actually. As I stated initially, when they asked me to be on this panel for an architects conference, I said, I think you have the wrong person because I don't know why you would want me to talk.
Right.
But what was really fascinating about it was, so there were three of us, and the other two women are medical doctors in various specialties. One's an epidemiologist, one is an OBGYN, and also a medical director of a hospital. The beautiful thing about it was we all had the same concerns. We all had the same story. We all had the same mission, but from three very different perspectives. And our biggest concerns were it's 2025 and we are still in a state where women's health is so underfunded, so not understood. And it's just now in 2025 that things are starting to come out and being talked about more, and more research is attempting to be done. The hardest part is that, in the state of our country, funding is now being pulled in women's health and research specifically. And, I think it was out of the global health research that is done, only 1% is done on women's health outside of cancer. I believe that is the statistic.
Shocking.
And yeah, absolutely shocking. And now, even today, as we are just starting to emerge to do more women's health research, funding is being stripped. And that's infuriating. I did just see yesterday, I think it's Bill Gates has pledged, I want to say, I have it on my phone, but if I pull it up, it'll mute me. So I can't remember.
worries.
So don't call me. But it was like or something $1 billion that he's pledging specifically to women's health research. I just saw that yesterday. So, there are things that are happening out there that definitely bring us a lot of hope. And one of the really nice things was on this panel is not only were the three of us really in sync with what we wanted to see, what our concerns were, but what we are seeing and what we want to see. But the audience participation was really encouraging as well, really open to what we had to say, asked a lot of questions, and it gave us a lot of hope. So,
yeah, that's amazing. I mean, there is, in the medical profession, there's things that piss us off and there's things that give us hope, right? I mean, I think a lot of us women are feeling more pissed off than hope. So kudos to Bill Gates out there.
Right, exactly.
You should snag some of that funding for,
I actually plan on reaching out to one of my resources who is the queen of finding out this information. So yes, it's on my list. It's on my list.
TBD, y'all. TBD.
How do we find this? How do we get access? Yes.
Yeah, let me know too. We need to steal some.
I will.
A lot of people are now. It's not just us, right? Let's talk about our age. Like, I'm in my late 40s. I'm sure you're kind of around my age too.
Same.
It's not just us who are worried about menopause. I think there has been a transition and a bigger interest in women who are younger, right? So it's not just our best teenagers. It's people who are in their 20s and 30s who are looking at health today that's going to impact them in the future. Do you have some experience with that? Can you kind of talk about what you're seeing?
Yes, actually, this topic excites me so much. I mean, granted, yes, I am in perimenopause age. I am in it. It is all the talk right now, menopause. It's so important. But what is exciting me is that these younger women are actually becoming more of these younger women are becoming my patients because they are exposed to more education. They have access to more information. They are hearing us talk about, we don't want to be our mother's story when it comes to menopause. We don't want to have the same journey. So girls like your daughter and early 20s and definitely into early 30s, they're saying, I want to start doing what I can now because I'm learning about this and I don't want to have to be on the forefront of trying to change the system when I get to be my 40s like we are. They're saying, what can I do now to make this journey through my hormone journey throughout the different stages of life go so much easier? And it's really exciting to me. They are wanting to find other options that are not just hormone based. That, a lot of them are saying, I don't want to go on hormonal birth control. I want to do things differently. Or, I want to learn more about my nutrition and my habits so I can do things differently and not have such peaks and valleys in my hormone journey throughout life. One young woman who is like a niece to me, she is in her early 20s, is now a certified health coach and has jumped on this hormone bandwagon. And I'm so proud of her because she shared with me last night, she just wrote a booklet that she is going to give she coaches volleyball at a high school. And she is going to give this booklet to her athletes. And it's so beautiful and easy to follow, but it is all about, these are the different phases of your period. This is how you should train. This is what you should eat. Here's some snacks to support the different phases of your cycle. And she's giving it to these high school girls. And that is so encouraging to me. So I really, really love this younger generation and their interest in their bodies and wanting better. So yeah, it's really exciting.
I mean, that's amazing. And it's funny because, my daughter is obviously hearing me talk about perimenopause and menopause.
Yes.
I think, her friends are now, because like I'm posting things, her friends are hearing it, her friends are seeing
Exactly.
me. So I think it's like hitting even the younger generation. And if Dawn were on, she had this funny story where I think one of her friends, they were, I don't know. So her friends, she was talking to her friend, and I guess her son was in a bad mood. And because her son's like 5, 6, 7, something like that. But basically, she's like, what's wrong, honey? And he's like, I'm just menopausal. So I think like
Fantastic.
it's my favorite story ever. I'm like, I just need to
Oh
see
my
this
gosh.
5-year-old boy being like, I'm just menopausal.
Love that so much. Bravo. Bravo that
Bravo.
he even
Bravo.
knows that word. Love it.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
it's funny. I mean, there's something that actually, when we were chatting again before the podcast, that you said that gave me goosebumps. And I think it's not only women in their 20s and 30s, but it's also men who are listening. So I think you said that
Yeah.
during your panel, men actually thanked you for
Mhm.
talking about what we're talking about. Why do you think that moment is so powerful? And how can we
Mm.
continue to educate the men in our lives that they need to be supportive?
Yeah, it was such a beautiful moment. I think that women are becoming more vocal, number one. Okay. And every man has a woman in his life in some capacity, whether it's a mother, a sister, a wife, a daughter, who knows, a part, whatever. And so I think women are being more vocal, so men don't really have a choice but to hear some of it. But I think that they are also becoming more aware at the statistics and the facts and the data that is really coming out at how, I don't want to say poor, maybe I should say poor, women's health really has been.
Mhm.
And really, what was really wonderful about this conference is even though the majority of the people in that room were men, what they were hearing and what they were listening to is we are the ones who design hospitals. We are the ones who design labor and delivery departments and, birthing centers and medical clinics. And we are recognizing that all along this system, including the buildings, have been designed without women in mind. And some of the comments were, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention because this is going to allow me to do my job better. And just having that insight, even though it was related to their career, it was clear that it really resonated with them. And one of the things that I said in the panel was, you all have a woman in your life. Have a conversation with her. Ask your mom. Ask your wife, what was your experience like? What is your experience like when you go to the gynecologist? What was your experience like when you gave birth? Just talk to them and let that sit with you. And if you love that person, really take it in. And I think that more women are I think that more men are hearing that. I think
Yeah.
that they really do care because they're recognizing like, wow, we're oblivious that this was such a problem.
I'm trying to think of my perfect, gyno room. I think I need some posters of hot guys above when you're like
Yeah,
getting
something,
checked out, your IUD put in, you're like, okay.
something make this better somehow.
Maybe some subtle pinks, like don't make it so sterile and white, some
I
fluffy
know.
pillows,
I know.
silk
Fuzzy,
robe.
shiny, bing, great music. Make it not so cold. I mean,
Totally. Why is it so
right.
cold in there, ladies? I don't
I
understand.
know. I know.
Because it was designed by men and they want to see your
Yeah,
nipples popping out. So I get it now.
exactly. That's probably right.
Well, let's switch gears. I love this and talk about not the inside of a, medical room, but what's going
Yeah.
on inside, right? So, what's, in your opinion, one thing that most women get wrong about hormone health?
Yeah. The thing that pops out and that I talk about every single day is that it's not just about estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. Everything that we talk about and everything that's being done for the most part is what are your levels? Let's put you on HRT. The reality is it goes so much deeper than that. Your adrenal hormones, which are your stress hormones, okay? Cortisol, DHEA play a huge role in your hormone balance, blood sugar regulation, gut health, stress levels, what you're eating, inflammation. There's so many components that go into hormone balance. It's not all about just estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. One of the other things that I stress is it's also not just about what your levels are, it's also about how your body detoxifies or metabolizes those hormones. So,
Mhm.
for example, even if you have low testosterone, how your body genetically metabolizes testosterone or your androgen hormones are going to play a role in how you feel if you get a testosterone pellet. So even if your testosterone's low, if your body metabolizes it in a certain pathway, you may still feel pretty crappy when you get a testosterone pellet. Or is your body converting it to too much DHT, which will make your hair fall out?
I'm
How does
feeling
your
that
body?
these days. Like,
Yeah,
look at all
same.
the baby hairs that are
Right
falling.
here, right here. Yeah, yep, exactly. Why? My body converted testosterone poorly. I know that now. But, and how your body metabolizes estrogen. Do you have too much dangerous estrogen? So it's not just about your levels, but it's also about how your body uniquely handles these hormones. And so I think that is also what makes it so complicated, is that it's not just that, right? You can't just slap a band-aid on it. You really do need to dig a little bit deeper and figure out how we can make hormones work for you better. And I think that that is what not enough women and even providers are just not understanding.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, the lack of education for medical doctors with perimenopause and menopause, what it's like maybe 7 to 10 hours they get for their whole career
Yeah.
of studying. So there's a lack of information there. And then, us as women get misdiagnosed or gaslit and just, what we talked about in the beginning, like, you're fine, just take this pill, you're just going to have to deal with it. I think for most of us, it's finding somebody like you, a provider that is a partner and care, because we are all confused what's going on. And as you mentioned, is it progesterone? Is it testosterone? Is it my cortisol levels? Is it just because my husband snores too much at night and I want to strangle him? Like, what
Yeah,
is going on? And
exactly.
how can I best live my life?
Yes, exactly. And I will say, I do believe that every provider, no matter what their specialty is, or if they're working in a hospital system or a private practice or concierge or whatever it is, they all care, right? It's not that they don't care, but when you are in the managed healthcare system, you are boxed in as far as what you can and cannot do and what you can look at, and also how much time you have to spend with
Yeah.
each person. And I do think that it's the system more so than the provider that is so broken, and why women are getting such a disservice when it comes to hormone health. So I do think it's more of a systemic problem versus an individual problem. But, I think that we're on the cusp of making that better. I do think that anybody who deals with hormones, and especially women's health, wants to make it better.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how can I go about doing it.
Yeah, and I love that saying. They feel, they're kind of boxed in, right? So they can't really do much. And honestly, my neighbor is a geriatric doctor, and we were sitting on my patio last night, and for an hour she was just doing her notes, and she's like, "I never have enough time with my patients, and I have to bring things home." And it was just kind of shocking to me that you guys spend so much time caring for your patients, but yet you don't have enough time to care for your patients.
Yep.
So hopefully, you can change that. We can all change that.
We're trying.
We're trying.
Yeah, exactly.
One client at a time.
Exactly.
I want to talk a little bit because like gut health is so important to me, and I'm always trying to understand my microbiome, and I can't have gluten here, but when I was in Italy I could have it. So it's like, what the hell is going on? But I know you're certified as a gut health practitioner, and you see a lot of autoimmune disorders related to this. Why are these exploding in women, and what are we doing wrong, and how can we fix it?
Yeah. Oh man. Well, first of all, women genetically, the extra X chromosome that we have makes us more vulnerable to developing things like autoimmune conditions. Part of it has to do with our hormone fluctuations. Part of it has to do with the way that estrogen and that extra X chromosome is connected to our immune system. But a lot of it is also environmental, and women carry and hold so much stress, I would say more than men, or differently than men. Okay. Our hormone fluctuations, you name it. We're constantly, especially now in this day and age, we're constantly doing way too much. We are working full time. We're holding down the house. We're carrying the weight of the world. I've given a presentation, and the first picture that I put on my slides was a picture of Wonder Woman, right? And that is just kind of the mentality that so many women have. And so we have a lot on our plate. Well, what does that do? In addition, I could go down that whole rabbit hole of our food system, right? Our foods and how it affects our gut, how it affects the lining of our gut and the microbiome. And so women are definitely more vulnerable to developing autoimmune conditions. Gut health, I think, is a chronic problem between men and women. And a lot of that is, again, what we're putting in our body and our stress. So the good news is that gut health is becoming more of a forefront topic. A lot of people are talking about microbiome. So many providers, if they have to give an antibiotic, they're also talking about probiotics, right? So the thing about gut and why I decided to get my certification was, in my own journey when my hormones were so messed up and I started studying and learning and saying, okay, I want to do hormones. Well, if you don't fix gut, if you don't have a healthy or optimal gut, trying to just fix your hormones is like swimming upstream. It just doesn't work. Your hormones are converted in your liver and your gut. So, in order to really do it right and balance hormones, you also have to start and look at the gut. Your gut is your root of everything. Your gut is a root of your immune system, your skin, your energy, your hormones. Everything starts and originates in your gut. So that really became just something I had to do. I had to get that certification and really understand on a deeper level all about gut health if I want to help women with their hormones.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me, right? Like the spider web, we're all connected, how to start somewhere. And, I agree. And again, back to my Europe reference, it's sort of like I know that
Yes.
they raise their food, they have higher standards for food,
Yep.
whatever, raising, whatever, how they
Yep.
grow their food.
Yep.
So it's so nice to go to a different place where I can eat things and enjoy it and don't feel disgusting. And it makes you come back to America and you're like, I just want to grow a garden and eat everything fresh and
Yeah.
don't want anything out of a box, but that's somehow impossible. So it's very frustrating.
It's, so many people, myself included, when they go to Europe and they can have the pasta and they can have the bread and not feel terrible. Well, it's the way that the wheat is processed here. And it's also even our soils. So even if you say, I want to get organic, wheat, if it's grown here, it's also what's in our soils. And so it may not even be wheat itself, obviously, because when you go in another country and it's grown differently and it's processed differently and the soils are more enriched, we are okay. We can handle that. And as soon as we come back here, it's like, I feel terrible. I don't want to touch that. And it just tastes different. And it's just, yeah. So I hope, one thing that I hope is coming is that the change to some of our food systems and some of the chemicals that we use. And I do think that that is a positive that, they can continue moving forward with that and clean things up. Do I think that it's going to solve all the problems with our food in this country? No, of course not. But, we got to start somewhere.
We do. Or just
But
move
yeah,
to Italy.
Oh, exactly. That's on my list. On my list.
Every time you go on vacation, you're buying property. You're like, yes, yes, yes.
I know. I haven't told my family yet. That's the only thing keeping me here. So it's like, you guys, I gotta go.
They'll all come with you. Don't worry.
Yeah, hopefully. I know.
Well, one of the things that I admire about you and everything that you're saying is really giving women their power back, right? So having women feel better about themselves so they aren't tired, so they aren't moody, so they're not bloated, so we know what's going on. What does empowerment look like and mean to you in your clinical practice, and how are you helping women take the reins back?
I love this topic so much. To me, it starts with validation. You are valid in what you're feeling. Not only because A, I'm hearing you and I'm really listening, but B, the tests are showing, yes, there really is something wrong. It's not in your head. You are validated in what you're feeling. Giving them solutions. That's not just take this pill. Okay. This is a journey. It's not going to be linear all the time. There's going to be peaks and valleys, but it is a journey that is going to pay off because at the end of the day, women run the world. If women don't feel good, right? Everybody and everything around them doesn't operate well. Okay. That's a fact.
Yes.
My goal is that the journey through womanhood, starting with puberty all the way up through menopause, you should feel vibrant. You should feel energetic. You should feel well. And giving women, teaching women, right, that there's another way, teaching women more about their bodies, teaching women more about their health, and encouraging them to use their voice. whether it's with their gynecologist or their primary care, whether it's with their families, whether it is in a meeting that they're talking, full of men, who cares? Giving women the confidence to use their voice, to speak up about their health, to understand their health better, to me, that is how we're going to change the conversation. That's how we're going to change the paradigm, and that's how things are going to shift. And so when we empower women through education, knowledge, validation, and also resources and the right tools to feel good, it doesn't get much better than that. That is incredibly empowering.
I love that. I mean, one of the things you mentioned is, education, right? So I feel like for us as consumers, and even you as a medical provider and learning things, there's so much information overload today, right? So it's like, what do I do here? What do I eat here? How do I make this? Do I take this shot? Do I do this? Right? So with so much noise and content coming at us and so little time, how do you really help clients cut through all that noise and really make progress? Because that's what we all need.
It's hard because you can't, one or two people can't stop the inundation of social media or whatever. So one of the things that I really encourage people to do is take a step back and look at your resource. Who is putting the information out there? Where are you getting your information? The other thing to remember is with not even just women's health, but in general, one size does not fit all. So if someone is promoting this or this or this, it changed my life, that doesn't mean that you should jump on that bandwagon and do it too. I know with my patients specifically, I say, this is going to be a journey. All that you need to focus on is the step-by-step that I give you, one step at a time, because there's a way that it has to be done. You can't start at the top and then jump down here and address this and address this. You have to start at the root level and work your way out. So there is a process that it has to be done. There's a system in the way that it has to be done. But just one big general thing that I would say is look at your resource and where's the information coming from? Ask questions. Seek out more information, talk to someone that is trusted and knowledgeable, and don't just jump on the bandwagon just because you hear this is great and it changed someone's life, assuming that it's going to work that way for you too.
Yeah. And I love what you said too, and what I feel like us women in general and, men too, but it's sort of like you hear something and you want to jump all in, and having like one small change at a time, like consumable chunks of things that you can do to change your health, because it's hard to go to somebody and they're like, quit drinking and go for a 5-mile run every day and, take these 20 supplements. Like it's impossible. Right. So I love that you said, take it step by step and don't overwhelm yourself, because medically, right? It's like, if you're overwhelmed,
that's not sustainable.
Exactly.
It's not sustainable. And the other thing too is, I know with myself and my colleagues, we have to meet people where they're at. There are some people that may be able to do all the things perfectly because that's just how they operate, and great. There's other people who are eating McDonald's every day and drinking 3 Diet Cokes a day or more, and really have no idea about nutrition or no idea about their bodies. Well, you can't ask them to do all these things. Let's meet them where they're at. Let's start making gradual changes, right? If you can, then when you're good and you're solid with these changes, then we add in more. And that's not a judgment, not in any way, shape, or form. Every improvement, big or small, adds up and is going to benefit people. So that's another thing, is not expecting, again, it has to be tailored, not expecting everybody to be able to do the same things. Our bodies don't work that way. That's not reality.
Not all women are created equal. We're not all the same.
Exactly. Yes.
So, I'm sure our listeners are the same as me. I met Amy and fell in love with her, and like, you're my new BFF. I want to spend all my time days with you. I wanted to talk a little bit about what you're doing behind the scenes and what you're about to launch, and how, because I'm sure people, again, who are listening are like, I want her in my life. How can I work with her? So can you give us a little bit of information around the Women's Health Institute and what you're doing?
Oh, I'm so excited about this. So Women's Health Institute was born a couple years ago after a conversation with a friend of mine who was pregnant with her first child. And I always felt for probably 15 years in my career, I want to do something really to help women on a bigger scale. And I really don't know how that looks. And I wasn't convinced that it was just opening another clinic, right? I really wasn't convinced. There's so many of those. So after this conversation, the concept for Women's Health Institute, of course, it's taken a couple of different iterations, over the last couple of years, but we finally honed in on what we're doing. And basically, we are a collective of independent female providers who work together as a community for women. And what I mean by that is we are building a system around women as opposed to trying to fit women into a system that was not built for women.
Love that.
And so what we do is we take the burden off of the woman to try to figure out, who do I need to see? What do I need to have done? I have to get my records from this provider and share them with that provider. And I don't even know if they're going to look at them, and nobody's communicating. We want to eliminate all of that by creating healthcare maps that are designed around the woman at the different age or phase or stage that she's at in her life. So for example, someone who is trying to get pregnant might need to see a functional medicine, provider, a nutritionist, possibly a therapist dealing with underlying trauma, possibly, who knows what that will look like. After she has a baby, her care team is going to look different. When she gets into perimenopause or menopause, her care team is going to look different. So we work together as a team, we communicate together as a team to really develop such a better model of care for women. On the other side of that is a better model for providers. So when you leave the traditional healthcare system and you go out on your own, it gets very isolating. Even though you have your own autonomy, a lot of what is missed is that community. And so we are also trying to support that with independent female providers. You still have your own business, you set your own hours, you run your own show, but you are part of this network community where we can share notes, we can talk about the patient, we will share cases, we can lean on each other with questions and just support as well. And so I really wanted to benefit women from both sides of it, both the provider side of it, but also the patient side of it. And so we are soon to be moving into taking over a new 5,200 square foot location that just organically fell in my lap. And I am very, very excited about that. We are going to be utilizing technology on a very large scale in a capacity that, from what we can tell, really hasn't been done yet. And the reason is we want to create greater access to as many women as possible, greater access to better care. We want to be able to offer classes on different things for education. We want to offer support groups like miscarriage support groups or nutrition classes or lactation consultant classes. We want to be able to offer that in our physical location. The other thing that really fits into this and is so dear to my heart is we officially became a 501c3 nonprofit.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it just feels better with the mission of what we're trying to do for women. So that being said, we are looking for donations and raising money, and you get a great tax write-off for a really great cause. There is tax benefits to this, but we are launching fast and furious right now because we've got all the pieces in place, and it's really just come together so wonderfully, and I am excited about it. And every day it's just better and better and moving forward, and I'm really enjoying the process. So yeah.
I'm so happy for you and so
Thank you.
excited for this journey. And, I will say, as anybody who's trying to change a movement and create something new, there's a lot of struggles along the way.
Yeah.
She needs your help. I love that you're accepting donations. It's a tax write-off. I love thinking about what the Women's Health Institute is going to be like in the near future. And obviously us in Denver are very, very lucky to have you and have this facility coming. I know you have grandiose plans of conquering the world with these. So.
I do. It didn't start that way, but it can happen. Somebody has to do it. And I really think that, Denver is going to be our our flagship location, but we definitely have plans to open up locations in various states across the country and just keep expanding. And
when we move to Italy, there'll be
exactly. Yes, exactly. International. We're going international. I had stepped away from the idea of having a physical location for a while. I just felt like I've been there, done that. I didn't think I wanted to do it. And this specific location fell in my lap, and it's everything that I could imagine as far as just building such an amazing community for women. We're going to have gynecology services, hormone therapy, functional medicine, acupuncture, chiropractic, massage, hopefully, pelvic floor therapy, lactation and doula therapy, psychiatry, phlebotomy. We're going to have an in-house lab. We're going to have an IV room. We're going to have classes like sound healing and breath work and some of the other things I mentioned. So it's really going to be, I think, pretty fantastic. So I'm really excited for it to launch.
I'm excited too. I'm just going to go hang out there, everybody. We're going to start doing our
podcast from yes.
Yep,
that's what we want. That's what we want. A community for women. Yeah.
I mean, I love it. We both have similar goals. That's why I adore you. Yeah. So tell people how they can connect with you and how they can go and be a part of this vision and mission with you.
Thank you. Yes. My personal website is to connect with me as a provider. If you're interested in having a consultation, I do consultations for free. It's just my name, dramypearson.com, DRAMYPERSON. Oh my gosh, I had to think about that for a second.
Brain fog.
I know. Perimenopause. Yep. DramyPearson.com. And then our Women's Health Institute website is womenshealthinstitute.co, C-O, not .com. And there is a donation page that you can go directly and donate. And on your receipt, you will get the tax information. Any little bit helps. We are still formulating also a separate donation page. So that is literally as we speak being created. But as of now, you can go directly on the website. And we also are putting out a newsletter every month. And I was so fighting that because it was just another thing. And I was like, I don't know if anybody will read it. And, but it's really been fun. And I've gotten a lot of feedback. I try to keep it lighthearted, but also educational. And you can also subscribe to that newsletter at the bottom of the Women's Health Institute website.
And we'll put all of these links too in our notes for the podcast. So anybody listening, just go and read all about it. Before we leave, I wanted to do a couple of quick rapid fire questions if you're game.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
All right. So what menopause symptom would you like to banish to the underworld forever?
I can only pick one.
I know, right?
I think brain fog.
I was going to say
mental clarity. Yeah, because, the reason being, the women that I work with, even if they're dealing with hot flashes that are absolutely miserable, right? A lot of times, most of them will say, it's not even the hot flashes that are the worst part. It's where I feel like I can't think straight anymore, where the words are right there and I can't find the words and my moods are impacted and I just feel like I'm losing control mentally. I feel like that's probably the hardest one.
I'm with you. And having people like my husband, like, I just told you that. And I'm like, I feel like I'm having dementia. We're all freaking out. Like, what is going on? Stressed out. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
What is the most unexpectedly badass thing about being in this phase of your life right now?
Oh my gosh, just not caring as much what others think. Letting go of my imposter syndrome, for sure. I think that I've come to accept that not everybody is going to like me. Not everybody's going to agree with what I have to say. And I'm really okay with that because I know that I'm doing good in the world and that matters to me. So it's really empowering to be like, I really don't care. You can have your opinions and that's okay.
I love it.
That's okay. Yeah.
I love that. What's one product, habit, or mindset shift that every woman should try in midlife? Maybe this. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. You said the word that I wanted to say. Let go of the expectations that we put on ourselves. Live your life. Do what gives you joy, right? Within reason. But or not. To each his own. No judgment. Yeah, just stop caring. Just stop caring so much. And enjoy your life. Do what makes you feel good. I know someone who's very dear to my heart just left a very high-paying job for a job that was significantly less because she was so unhappy. And she's like, It doesn't matter to me anymore. I want to be happy. So I think, yeah, just find what gives you joy and do it, and stop caring. Stop caring about having to look perfect or be perfect or give an impression that everything's perfect in your life. It's not. It's not.
Imperfection is sexy.
Yeah, exactly. Lean into it. It makes you more relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to thank you so much for being here. I mean, we're so
Thank you,
so
Courtney.
excited for what you have ahead and all you've
you.
accomplished. And like I said, everyone listening, you can see why I'm always like, "Hey, Amy, do you want to hang out?" Because she is a wealth of information and so fun and beautiful on
Thank
the
you
inside out.
so much. Thank you, Courtney. This was so fun. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this, and thank you for putting this platform out there. It is
Thank
so
you.
needed and appreciated. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that's a wrap on today's episode of Hot Flash Health. We hope you're walking away feeling a little more empowered and a lot more seen and maybe even ready to embrace that inner glow up. Don't forget to subscribe to your favorite podcast platform, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. We're there for you to listen to. And always follow us, like us on your social media platforms. We love for you to give us a little like and a little hey. Whatever the next one, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, we're there. If there's a new one, we'll try and figure it out for my 15-year-old daughter. Stay hot, stay bold, and remember, you're not losing it. You're just becoming the most powerful version of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Remember, menopause may be a wild ride, but together, we've got this.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Hot Flash Health.
Stream and subscribe to us on any of your favorite listening platforms like YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
And of course, share your thoughts with us. We love hearing from our amazing listeners.
And until next time, stay sassy, stay fabulous, and keep those hot flashes in check.
Yeah, girl.
Woo!